couple of months ago, I had a buddy come up to me with some deer meat and he said it just didn't taste right. And it makes sense because when he brought it to the butcher, it was during gun week here in Ohio and there were 80 deer lined up. So no fault to the butcher, but they probably didn't take a whole lot of time on making sure it was done correctly. So if you have the same problems where that gamey flavor or that off flavor is just overbearing, here is a great fix for your steaks. Here's what you're gonna need. Get your venison steaks, and then you're also going to need some butter, some rosemary, garlic, and onions, some kosher salt, and then some fresh cracked peppercorns. And you can see here in this package, there is a lot of moisture. So that's gonna be the first thing that we want to address. So there's a couple different muscle groups in here, which is fine. There's a little bit of silver skin on this side that we're going to want to remove. And we also have just a little bit of fat in here that might add some off flavor. You flip it over, you can see a little bit more, so we'll do just a little bit of trimming. Looks like that's a little chunk of bone. We'll get that stuff off there too, and then we're gonna dry this off. You want to get this as dry as possible because we're going to be cooking this on high heat to create that Maillard reaction, and the more moisture that's interrupting that reaction, the less sear that we're going to get, and we won't get that caramelization, we won't get that nice deep and rich flavor with it. So if we can get rid of all that moisture the best that we can, it's going to turn out for a better quality piece of meat. And you can just tell that smells different. So now it's time to season. Be sure that if you're going to add salt to a steak, that you want to do it either right before you put it on the skillet or at least 45 minutes to an hour before. Start with a nice cracked peppercorns, some kosher salt. Okay, now we're ready for the skillet. As you can see, our cast iron's nice and hot and just started smoking, so we can put our steak right in it. Now when you first put meat into a hot skillet, it's absolutely fine to touch it. You're not going to squeeze out any juices like this. You're actually helping incorporate more of the surface area of the steak to get to the bottom side and touch the skillet, creating a much better sear. As you can hear, the steak's been on for about 30 seconds, 45 seconds, and it's not sizzling as loud or as fast as it was when we first put it on, which means that we actually cooled the pan down a little bit. So we don't want to touch it. Leave it just like this and make sure all those pieces of steak that are touching the pan do not lift. Move some of those oils around. So yeah, we're losing some juice over there. That's okay. You can see more juices rising out the steak. It means we're creating a really good reaction on the bottom. Should start to look a little brown. Looks pretty good. Not quite ready to flip just yet. All right, we are ready for our flip. That is a great looking steak so far. Again, you don't have to worry about pressing down and squeezing juices out right now because you just flipped it. You got a little bit of time. Now you want to start incorporate some of the other ingredients. Add your butter. It's going to melt quickly. That's fine. Toss your rosemary in there. Some garlic cloves and an onion. Really press that onion in there. As it's melting, you'll start to see the butter actually brown up a little bit. That's completely fine. You actually want that. Brown butter is delicious. You want to start basting the top of your steak. Get all these flavors moving around. Some juices coming out. Give it a couple more bastes. Bottom side looks pretty good. You can now take her off. You don't want to cut into this right away. You actually want this to cool off for a little bit. What you're essentially doing is let some of those juices soak back up into it. If you cut it now, everything's hot and it's just gonna leak out and you're gonna have a dry steak. The recommended wait time is about half the time that you cooked it for. For us, I think that's gonna be about a 2.5, 3 minute wait. It's rested, let's give her a shot. Pretty good looking steak. Zero gaminess to that. Absolutely none. So after doing this should take away most of the gamey flavor and off flavor that you might have in the meat. However, if you still have some left, don't be afraid to add this to a taco or a rice bowl or even maybe a steak sandwich. If you want more information on the Maillard reaction, we'll be doing a full video on this one here soon. It'll probably be released the same time this one's released. So remember to give the game that you acquire from the field the respect that it deserves.